Marina, we are in serious trouble. An accusation of fraud hangs on us, and the required amount is 800,000. Your wedding ceremony is scheduled for a week, but your home in Sochi is busy. His mother cried desperately on the phone. An event for 100 guests, all planned. Meanwhile, the seaside residence that you kept so much lovingly, paying all the bills up to date, was transformed into a clandestine rental business for season. I'll tell you everything from the beginning. My name is Marina, I am 32 years old and I work as a customer relationship manager at a technology company in Moscow. My career is solid, the generous salary enough not only to live well, but also to invest in bigger dreams. 2 years ago, I made a decision that, at the time, seemed the best of my life. I bought a house on the seaside in Sochi. Small but cozy, located in Kup, a quiet neighborhood where the Black Sea waves are seen straight from the room through huge windows. From the balcony, he was straight down to the sand. Mornings with coffee in hand, listening to the noise of the waves, became my monthly refuge, an antidote against the stress of the capital and the relentless deadlines. My parents, Victor and Svetlana, are over the 60. My father, after a lifetime in construction works, had his health shaken by a serious back problem and today survives with disability retirement. My mother complements income as a supermarket cashier, accepting extra shifts whenever possible, although the salary is derived. When I bought the house in Sochi, I handed them a reserve keys game without hesitation. Use when you want, it's for you too, he said. My father, thrilled, couldn't contain the tears. It was the first time I saw him so vulnerable. Since then, they have visited the place almost every month, sometimes accompanied by my younger sister, Red, 28, and her husband, Igor. Lyra works as a receptionist at a dental clinic. It has always been the most outgoing of both of us, the type of person who illuminates any environment, but also the one who got used to having everything effortlessly. Igor, in turn, is an operator in a distribution center for a large marketplace. They live complaining about money, although they have been married for 3 years. Together they joined my parents in Sochi every 2 months, approximately. Everything went well. After each visit, my mother called, repeating like a mantra, "Marina, you have no idea how much it means to us. Having a place to escape, forget about problems. You are our golden daughter." Those words filled me with pride. I felt that my money was being used for something truly valuable. Until, a year ago, everything changed. A headhunter offered me a position by customer care director in a multinational, with almost double salary, benefits such as premium health insurance, contributions to private pension and even stock options. There was only one detail: the headquarters kept Krasnodar. For a Moscovita like me, that meant a radical change. I thought long. Such an opportunity does not appear every day. It would be foolish to refuse. I told my parents the news. "How wonderful, daughter. You deserve it," my mother vibrated. But then I let out the bomb: I will need to move to Krasnodar and probably sell the house in Sochi to buy a property there. The silence that followed was deafening. "Marina," her voice trembled. "Can't you not sell it? Sir is to ask a lot, but your father and I got used to that place so much, it became essential to us." My father took the phone. "We would take care of everything, keep everything in order. We love that place, Marina." Something squeezed my chest. They aged, and that little bit of paradise by the sea was perhaps the only luxury life had given them. How can laugh to get him out of them? I took a deep breath. "Okay. I won't sell. Keep using it." The relief in his voices confirmed that he had made the right choice. "Thank you, daughter. You can't imagine what that means to us." I ended up moving to Krasnodar. Instead of buying a property, as I planned, I had to rent an apartment, in a new condominium, but still rented. If I had sold the house in Sochi, I could have bought something of mine, with all the comfort. But seeing the happiness of my parents convinced me that it was worth it. The new job exceeded all expectations: excellent salary, prospects for growth, challenging projects. My life in Krasnodar was adjusting. I spoke to my parents every 2 weeks, and they always told about the beach visits. "We were there last weekend," said my mother, enthusiastic. "Reed and Igor came, it was so good. The weather was perfect. I'm glad you, Mother. It's thanks to you that this is possible, he replied. I don't know what we would do without this little house. Thank you for not selling it. So it followed for about a year. I adapted to the new city, climbed my career, made new friends. Sometimes I missed my refuge by the sea, but the idea that my parents enjoyed that place warmed my heart. It paid on the IPTU, light and water bills, condominium fees, not cheap, but stared at their smile price. Until a phone call changed everything. It was Roman, the broker who helped me buy the house 2 years earlier. We would exchange messages sporadically, just greetings on special dates. Hi, Marina. How are you going to life in Krasnodar? Look, I came across something strange on the Su.dot website. A certain Vela is renting your home. I thought you might have authorized it, but in the announcement she introduces herself as owner of the property. Valeria. My sister, read. Can you send me the link? Of course, already shipping through WhatsApp. My hands trembled while waiting for the message. As I opened the link, I felt as if I had punched my stomach. It was my house. Each angle, every detail of the interior I had chosen with such care was there, exposed. And at the top of the ad, the phone will read. Cozy house by the seaside in Cup. Direct access to the beach. Ideal for romantic weekends, family vacation or events. Of 20,000 rubles per day, with higher prices in season and holidays. But what really destroyed me was the testimonials. Dozens of them, the oldest 6 months ago. We spent an amazing weekend. Valeria is overwhelming. The house is exactly as in the photos. Access to the sea is a dream. We have already booked our next stay. Sophia M. New Year's Eve here was unforgettable. Waking up with the sound of the waves is magical. The host is a love, all organized without problems. 5 stars, no doubt. Ekaterina L. New Year. My parents had said that they spent the parties in the house, but not a word about renting it to strangers. I continued rolling the page, the anger growing up with each comment. Great place for corporate events. Quick internet, large room for meetings, and night fire walks are the best way to recharge the energies. Valeria is a professional, all impeccable. Texalations team. The last testimonial was the drop of water. We are considering this place for our marriage. Valeria mentioned that it is possible to perform ceremonies. Ideal for outdoor wedding ceremonies. Perfect for an intimate and elegant celebration. We can barely wait to discuss the details. Katia and Artem. I was paralyzed, the frozen fingers on the phone screen, while the words burned like acid. My sister had turned my house into a business. And not any business, a luxury venture, with dreamy brides, companies paying fortunes and an entire family lied blatantly on my back. Each connection, each how is the. I work, daughter. It was a stabble disguised of affection. I dismissed my mother's number. I needed to hear the truth or at least one more lie, to confirm how deep they had sunk. Hello, honey. How is your Krasnor? Her voice, sweet as usual, sounded like sarcasm. Normal, mother. I heard, I was thinking. I'm going to take a holiday next week. Maybe spend a few days in Sochi. I haven't been there for a long time. Silence. Such a silence that you could hear the cold sweat dripping on her forehead. Ah, how wonderful. But, you know, Reed and Igor are there now. They needed to rest, poor, so overwhelmed at work. One more lie. As she weaved her web of apology, I opened the Sutiarkno.au site on the other phone. The reservation calendar was there, ruthless, reserved, Platonov, 1 week. I smiled bitterly. Well, then maybe 2 weeks from now? I don't know, daughter. They have plans, you know how it is. Better call them straight, right? She was desperate to end the conversation. I could feel the relief in the voice when I suggested. Do you know something? I changed my mind. I'm going to Baikal. More interesting than our modest chalet, don't you think? Her nervous laugh was the icing on the cake. Great idea, honey, you deserve a real rest. He hung up fast, with the lame excuse that dinner is burning. I stared at the screen, the weight of the betrayal squeezing my chest. It wasn't just reading her. It was everyone. My parents, accomplices. My family, a gang of liars. I called Roman. I saw the ad. This is surreal. He didn't seem surprised. I suspected I had something rotten. And now, I have no idea what to do. I pay all the bills in that place, taxes, light, water, and they get profit. Marina, you can process them. What they are doing is illegal. It is unjust enrichment. You are the owner, and they rent without your permission. Process my own family? The idea was disgusted. But the anger was stronger. You don't have to get to it. Let me investigate for my contacts. Find out when it's the next reserve. If you get them in the act, with proof in hand, they will not have to deny. It was a plan. A good plan. Do that. And don't tell anyone. The next 2 weeks were hell. Each time I looked at the tiny rent I paid for Krasnor, I thought about what I could have, a house of mine, bought with the money my family stole from me. The feeling of being used burned as acid. Roman called exactly 2 weeks later. Marina. I have information. Sit first. I'm already sitting. Her sister closed a monster wedding there. An acquaintance of mine from the branch of events told me. 100 guests. In a month. The blood froze. And the value. It's no joke. They speak of hundreds of 1,000. The fury rose as a lava. It's not just a weekend beak, Roman. It is a clandestine hotel on my property. What do you want me to do? Arrange some long-term tenants. That change before this party. And they don't go out for anything. I can arrange. Give me 2 weeks. Perfect. And Roman, not a word to anyone. 2 weeks later, the phone rang. I achieved. A couple, freelancers. They work remote, want to rent for at least 6 months. They pay well for a place by the sea. Wonderful. I will receive them myself. I took a vacation without a salary, bought tickets for Sochi and did not warn anyone. I arrived without fuss. The first place I visited. My house. The house I paid as they profited. I called a keychain at the same time. I changed all the cylinders of the locks. Then I found Roman and the new tenants, Dmitry and Olga, a quiet couple, but with a clinical eye for drama. Roman explained to us that his family may not like us here, said Olga, bluntly. But we don't care. The place is beautiful, and we are not intimidating ourselves. Excellent. Because things can heat up. We signed the contract in the time. They paid in advance 6 months of rent plus security. I left my contacts and those of Roman. Any problem, call. I returned to Krasnor the same day. Now, just wait. 2 days later, my cell phone exploded. First Reddit. Then my father. Then my mother. I ignored all calls. At noon, the messages began to pop up on WhatsApp. Read, Marina, what the fuck did you do? Our keys do not work. Father, daughter, we need to talk. There are people living in your house. Mother, honey, please call. We came to clean for guests and have a couple there. They say they rented. What is happening? I put the phone in the quiet and smile. That would pot. To guess. The messages did not stop. Read, Marina, I know you're reading. These people have a contract. Contract, Marina. What did you do? Mother, Marina, this is serious. We have a commitment. Call now. I waited until almost midnight. When my mother called again, crying, I answered. Marina, thank God. What is happening? Who are these people in your home? My tenants, mother. My voice was ice. I rented my house. But, we use the house. You said we could. I said to use. I didn't say to make money with her. Silence. Then the trembling voice. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop this scam. I saw the site. The testimonials. The reservation calendar. I know you lied to me for months. A break. And I know the wedding party you marked. 100 people. In 5 days. So tell me, are you going to tell me? Or were they going to keep stealing while I paid the bills? She whispered something to someone, probably my father. Marina, listen, We needed the money. You're so well in the new company, and we are tight. We thought you wouldn't care. Wasn't I care? Laugh, bitter. I pay all the tax, the light, the water, the gas. And you saw a business in it. Ah, she won't care. We were going to tell you. After. To buy another house with the money that is mine. She choked. The voice was hard. Marina, you need to take these tenants. The party is this weekend. We have already received 300,000 advance. Plus 200,000 on the day. 500,000 per weekend at your home. So it's your problem, mother. Our problem, Marina. It is serious. We have already spent part of the advance. If we do not deliver the space, they will sue us. They should have thought about it before renting what is not yours. She cried now, desperate. Please, Marina, asks for your tenants to leave, just for the weekend. We pay them. No. They will sue us. Then they get somewhere else. Or return the money. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but for the first time in months, I breathed with relief. Finally they knew I knew. The cell phone has not stopped vibrating. Read, my father, my mother, all. I ignored it. Until the messages were more desperate. Read, Marina, you are destroying our lives. We need this money. Father, daughter, think about the consequences. This will stain our name. Mother, please, they will ruin us. We have already signed a contract. We can't cancel. I answered only once, to everyone. Consequences? You should have thought about it before you betray me. Now they reap what they planted. And I turned off my cell phone for good. The money. My grandmother is out of her mind. How can you do this with us? Read, the bride's father threatens to register a police report. By fraud. Fraud, Marina. Do you understand that we can be processed? Mother, please, my daughter. We will do anything. Help us only this time. I hung up the phone, lay on the bed and, for the first time in weeks, slept like an angel. No nightmares, without guilt, without their voice echoing in my head. In the morning, 17 unlisted calls. I heard only a voice message, my mother's, between hiccups. Marina, it's me. They are demanding the reimbursement of the advance and the fine. For breach of contract. The party is 4 days from now. They want 800,000 in total. We don't have that money. Please, you have to help us. Only you can fix it. 800,000. The sum echoed in my head like a sentence. For a second, a twinge of pity crossed me. I remembered the family dinners, the laughs, the times my mother hugged me saying, "Daughter, you are our pride." But then came the images of recent months, the accounts of my card being paid by them while renting my space behind my back. The hypocrisy of Red, smiling at the bride and groom as he blatantly lied. The anger burned the sentence in ashes. No, I said, dry. You are the ones who have to fix the mess they made. Marina, we'll lose everything. The house, the car, we will have to get a loan that we will never be able to pay. They should have thought of it before stealing. Silence. A silence so heavy that you could feel the desperation on the other end of the line. You're punishing us, my mother whispered, like her the victim. I'm defending myself, I corrected. You are my parents. They should protect me, don't betray me. I blocked all the numbers. It arrived. A week later, it was Aunt Tanya who called, with a trembling voice. Marina. I heard what happened. Your mother is telling everyone that you have abandoned us for revenge. I told you everything. Every lie, every transfer. I did not know that it was playing their business. When I finished, Tanya sighed long, as if carried the weight of years of omissions. I had no idea that they were so far away. His voice broke. But your mother swears you are acting for evil. Evil? Laugh, bitter. The wickedness was theirs, Aunt. Use my house, my money, my trust as if they were their right. I believe you, she said firmly. And I'm not the only one. Maxim, my cousin, came to me the next day. I can't believe they did it, he wrote. If you need something, I'm here. For the first time in months, I didn't feel alone. Until the phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Marina. My mother cried so loudly that she could barely understand. We borrowed 800,000 on the card, at 29.9% interest. We will never be able to pay. Let's lose the house, the car, please. You chose this way, I said cold. Each penny that should be a consequence of your decisions. But we are your family. Family doesn't lie. Don't steal. It does not transform the daughter into sucker while enriching at her expense. She tried to argue, but I cut. Did you know I paid hundreds of $1,000 a year just to keep that place? You had free what others would pay fortunes. And yet, it wasn't enough. We needed the money, so they should have asked. With honesty. Not as thieves. The silence that followed was sharp. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Cold. Calculating. You will regret it. Let's hire a lawyer. Great, I smiled for the first time in days. I can barely wait to see how they will explain in the court that rented my property without my consent. She hung up. In the following days, the calls multiplied. Reed, my father, even numbers that did not recognize. Text messages full of guilt, threats, manipulation. You have destroyed our lives. Your parents will lose the house for you. Reed is having panic attacks. That's your fault. I blocked everything. Until, 2 weeks later, Aunt Tanya called again. Your mother is spreading that you are a monster. Who abandoned the family for money. Let her talk, I said indifferently. Anyone who knows the truth knows who the monsters are here. And then, as a last breath of despair, my mother tried again. Unknown number, trembling voice. Marina. We need these 800,000. Never. To leave this debt. They should have thought of it before. You are our daughter, and you are my parents, Ira Betty. It was, or even deciding that my trust was worth less than a handful of grades. We'll never forgive you. Finally, something we agree. She hung up. And for the first time, there were no more connections. 6 months later, my life went on. Dmitry and Olga, my true tenants, renewed the contract for another year. 250,000 per month, punctually. No dramas, no lies. My career took off. The apartment in Krasnodar finally became mine, not a weight, not a trap, but an investment that gave me freedom. Aunt Tanya, from time to time, was updating me, my parents struggling to pay the debt, Red and Igor moving to a smaller place. Your mother still talks bad about you, she warned. I just laughed. So talk. Truth doesn't need advocates. Because, in the end, I learned what really matters. Blood doesn't give anyone the right to use you. And sometimes the people who should love you are the ones who know the most where to stick the knife. Would you do it all over again? Without hesitation. They made their choices. Now they live with the consequences. I am mine. I should not clean the mess they made, especially when this mess includes lies and theft. My house now is in hand that deserve confidence. Dmitry and Olga send me photos from time to time, a touch of lavender in the garden here, a refined detail there. All impeccable, beware of a dedication that my own parents never had. They even think about buying a property there, but for now, the location already makes them satisfied. And if you got here, thanks for listening to the end. Leave in the comments from where you are accompanying us. I want to know where the voice of those who understand that family is not just bond comes from, it is choice. Until next time.